there, this is Daniel from Three River Farmers Alliance. I am here with Seneca Bernard from Gather. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm so excited to have you here. We have done so much work with Gather, and I think it's an awesome organization. So I'm very excited to learn more about it and ask you, specific questions. So I will start on that note with, introduce yourself and describe your role at Gather.
My name is Seneca Adam Bernard, and I am the Associate Executive Director at Gather, which basically means I get to implement all the different programs that we do and oversee our different programs. And I get to be a community liaison between partners such as Three Rivers, as well as between our members and others that might need our services, so schools.
That sounds important and fun.
It's fun.
So describe and explain for me, if you would, your mission statement or your mission in general.
Yeah, Gather's mission is pretty easy. It's not an easy task, but it is a simple concept. We are working to end hunger in the Greater Seacoast. And everyone can define the Greater Seacoast as they want. That's one of the benefits of that term. But Gather's reach, with members coming into our Portsmouth hub, come from as far away as Milton and Rochester, South Portland, Kittery, Maine area, down throughout all of the seacoast of New Hampshire, down to Seabrook, and then into Lawrence and Haverhill, Massachusetts as well. So when we say Greater Seacoast, we mean our whole large community. And there's about 55 towns that are represented in our membership every single month of people who come to utilize our services.
Well, that's a great area. That's a very large area. But yeah, I guess that's fair. Seacoast. um, so how did you get here? What led you through your life to this position?
My story's not that exciting.
Everyone
I
always says
decided
that, but it's never true. Everyone always says that.
I decided that I was going to volunteer at a few places in my personal life and figure out what I wanted the next step of my life to be. So I left the mortgage industry, and Gather was one of the places I started volunteering. Our volunteer coordinator at the time was fantastic. She got me in right away, which is not true with lots of places that need volunteers. And it was just such a welcoming environment for me to go into and volunteer. So many of our volunteers volunteer 2 or 4 hours a week, the same shift every week. I was doing the exact same thing. And within about a month, maybe 5 weeks, I was volunteering 40 hours a week.
Wow.
So I did that for a few months. And then our executive director, Deb Anthony, asked if I wanted to join the team officially, and they were creating a new position for the mobile programs coordinator. So that's how I came in to Gather. I then took over the pantry and everything that we do, all of our programs. We have built them over the last few years. I started about 4 years ago, and now I just change my title when I feel like it. But I'm the associate executive director so that I can help our volunteers, help the community, and help members who need us. So I'm very lucky to do what I do, but it is not, I sought out to work for a nonprofit. Gather itself, I said I've been there for about 4 years, started in 1816. We're the
Wow.
oldest continually serving service industry nonprofit. So we're very proud of our roots. Starting in Portsmouth, we've always been in Portsmouth, and we were started by a group of women in Strawberry Bank feeding the families of fishermen. So while we feed a whole bunch of other families now, it's the same concept that we've had for 200 years.
That is absolutely incredible. Um, I have to sit with that. That's really great. I mean, that's, yeah, 200 plus years. That's amazing. Um,
It's
I'm
amazing, yeah.
always I'm always so impressed. Uh, like I mentioned to you before we started this call, I'm just always so impressed with people who are drawn to this work. I mean, volunteering 40 hours a week in and of itself is exceptional. Volunteering at all is incredibly important and exceptional. So I think that it says a lot about somebody's character, especially yourself, putting in all that time. And well, I mean, sounds like they found the right person in that regard.
We have found many other right people. So with volunteer, I love to talk about Gather and all that we do because it really is much more the community coming together to serve our community. and Gather, we utilize more than 200 volunteers every single month. So I said I came in and did the same. My shift was Tuesday afternoon, just so you know, 3 to 5.
Gotcha.
I did the same shift every single week. And we have lots of people who do that. And that is very good for consistency for our members and for our staff. But it takes more than 200 different individuals every month to make that happen and serve all the people that we are able to serve. So volunteering for us or any nonprofit really goes a long way. And I love that our community, our region really institutes that either with works. There's many businesses that do it, uh, but so do schools. Schools are now more and more requiring it of their students to volunteer in their community, and there's a variety of ways to do it, and we're just one of them. And we're so grateful for the volunteers that come in.
That's amazing. Um, well, what is your favorite all-time experience with your organization? This is usually where I get a pretty interesting or funny story out of someone.
Mine is not interesting or funny. So
I
many
take
of
it
the things
back.
that we do are at our pantry market, and in Portsmouth is our pantry market. We serve hundreds of families there every single month. You come in, you go grocery shopping, and that is great. That is a great service. It's a choice model, high dignity, low barrier. It's fantastic. But we realized that that was not the way to reach most people. It is really hard, especially if you don't live in Portsmouth, to get to Portsmouth. There is not public transportation everywhere. There's also a stigma with going to a food pantry. So we actually go out and do farmers markets in up to 10 different towns during the course of the year. My favorite time, I would say, is when we in 2019, the government did not fund the Coast Guard. I don't know if you remember that, but it was horrible. And so our Coast Guard here in Newcastle did not get funded. So they were often working without pay or not working. And so we were able to
That's
go
surprising.
over and set up a food pantry specifically for them. And I don't really mean food pantry, I really mean a farmer's market. We worked with many local retailers. So Trader Joe's stepped up, Hannaford stepped up, everyone stepped up to get us the stuff that we needed on short notice. And we went over and we got to set up a farmer's market for the shipyard workers. Anyone who could get over to the Coast Guard, because that's where we can get on without needing a whole bunch of permits. And they were so generous to us and sweet, and they helped unload the trucks and everything else. But that really did build a big friendship between us and the Coast Guard, where they have come in many times to help us out. And so that is probably, although it was like 4 degrees and freezing, it was one of the best times that I've ever had at Gather, being able to really work with our community and then build a friendship from that.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, just to see it all working together, to see everybody coming together for something like that is super valuable. I can't say enough about pretty much every time I interview anyone. I always give the Three River Farmers Alliance customers a big pat on the back for being so generous with donations. And I part of why I do this is to highlight where that money goes. We do a lot of work with places like Gather and so many other places, and the work that you do is just super heartwarming, very inspiring. Um, I super
So
appreciate it.
I would be remiss if I did not mention uh, during our summer programming, we do meals for kids when there is no school lunch or breakfast, when there's not free school and lunch because the schools are shut down either for summer vacation or the winter break that's coming up. We go out and do what we call meals for kids. So we set up that free farmers market and people can come take anything that they want. And we gear it specifically towards student aged children. So there will be snack bars out there and juice boxes and recipes that the kids can make. Uh, so we do that all summer long. And Foster's was very nice to us, Seacoast Online, and did an article on this once. And there is one photo of me holding a box. So I am taking a box off of the back of one of our trucks. And it's everyone laughs because it's like the only time I ever lifted a box. But that photo is what made it into the newspaper. So for me, whenever our team is like, "You're not doing anything," I'm like, "There is a photo of me lifting a box," and it really is true.
The proof
Our
is
work with Three
immortalized.
River, though, I know you're going to ask about that, but I'm going to preempt
Yeah,
it a little
that's
bit
fine.
because
Let's.
in our farmers market, out goes a lot of the vegetables that you guys donate to us. And we also purchase with you guys through our wholesale side. We just purchased cranberries, for example, for Thanksgiving. We were so happy
Awesome.
to be able to get those and get them in a quantity that we need. That's often one of our struggles
A hot item.
is the very large quantities that we need. We serve more than 6,000 people a month. And so depending on what market we're doing or anything, yesterday we were in Rochester, for example, and we served more than 250 families in one 3-hour block. So
Wow.
just the quantity that we need. With Three Rivers, you guys are able to help us get that quantity either through donation or through purchase quite often, because it doesn't come from just one farm. You guys are able to get a bunch of farmers together to help us out. So we personally appreciate that. But if you come to our farmers market, often you will see you mentioned kohlrabi. Kohlrabi out at our farmers market, specifically in Rochester, it is a very hot topic item up there. They love it. That demographic that come shopping us there love kohlrabi. They love cabbage. We got little red cabbages from you guys very recently. Uh, but also, you guys donated fun things like tofu to us recently. We have many vegetarians, and we do try to adhere to different cultures and different um, needs of people's dietary needs. And so the tofu was fantastic. Our cooking group, which I'm going to talk about in a second, was able to make it into some great meals. So it's not just here are some vegetables and please get these out to people who need it, but it is here's a variety of vegetables and here is culturally sensitive items. And sometimes it is here are seconds, which for us is perfect. We try to teach everyone that all food is good food. Please don't, just because it's not beautiful, don't throw it out. It is the potato that is only 3 inches is the same as the potato that is 5 inches that the farmer would sell. And so it goes along with our educating of our membership and the community in general of it doesn't have to look perfect for it to be great, nutritious food. And you guys help us with that quite a bit. We have a Cooking for Community program, and there's actually a couple of the different programs. So Cooking for Community is what we call our program. We work with UNH and Great Bay Community College as well for our cooking programs. And we take food that is maybe not as pretty or in larger quantities. Sometimes we'll get in 90 pounds of one item and we won't necessarily be able to serve that today. So let's turn it into something delicious. And we make to-go meals, delicious, nutritious to-go meals that we can serve in our pantry market, but also out in our other markets. And so sometimes you guys give us something that might be creative or a large quantity, and we're able to turn that into fantastic meals and then also educate people. This is what we made. Here's the recipe to go along with it, so you can do it at home. And without you guys giving us some of those items that we don't know about and that I'm not necessarily going to go purchase 300 pounds of kohlrabi, you
Right.
guys teaching us about some of those products has been fantastic for us and for our membership. So we're
That's a
just giving
very
some
that's
of that.
great. I mean, I use kohlrabi as an example a lot because I had never heard of it before I worked at Three River Farmers Alliance. So it's just become kind of the butt of a joke in me not knowing as much as I probably should about vegetables. But yeah, the cooking aspect is very interesting, and I've learned a lot about that in speaking with other people who were involved in food pantries and food donation. Is yeah, you can't just give somebody 100 pounds of carrots, and that's not always useful. So being able to cook for people is super important in what you do, and also we have recognized that for retail customers, just as people who receive donations, recipes are very important too. So we just posted our first recipe video a couple weeks ago, and we're trying to start to do more things like that because we feel like it will be helpful, whether the food is purchased or donated, just helpful to kind of to put that out there, recipe ideas, or even just how to cook or prepare food. That's something about food donation that was not immediately apparent to me, but I have learned more about, well, just as you said, having a cooking team is so important because you can prepare meals for people. I had spoken to Whitney from Seacoast Fridge, and they have the same kind of thing. They say anyone can come there and scoop up a bunch of stuff, cook it at your house, turn it into meals, bring it back. So that's a really interesting part of food donation that I've been well, I guess I didn't think of before I started to dig in.
Some of our work deals with New Hampshire Gleans, which is we oversee the overall New Hampshire Gleans, and we're divided into 6 different regions in the state. But Gather itself gleans from Rockingham and Stratford counties in New Hampshire and York County in Maine. And if you don't know what gleaning is, I know you, Daniel, do. But it is the act of rescuing food that would have otherwise gone to waste. And we do that with grocery stores who are going to toss food that they can't necessarily serve. We do that with large entities like Favorite Foods if they're going to change over a product and they have a little residual left. But also, we do it with many of the farmers with Three River and Three River itself, so that food doesn't go to waste. It's not just being tossed out, but that is being used by individuals who need it. And I love that about Three River is that you don't just take the stuff that is left over and donate it to entities like us, but you also encourage your customers to purchase items and or a monetary purchase because helping our local farmers stay in business helps all of us. Without local farmers, there is no food pantry. Otherwise, we're getting all of our food from a different country. And
Right.
so keeping our local farmers in business is great for the economy, is great for so many things, but it's also so different. When you just brought up carrots, and we often giggle at Gather about the difference between the carrots we have to purchase, because we do purchase a lot of carrots, through some wholesaler or something like that, versus the carrots that we will order from Three River or that Three River donates. And they're one, just so many different colors, but also they just taste so different. And they're coming right from our backyards, right down the road in many of these towns. So we love that. And we love being able to share that with our membership because just because you're low income and can't afford to go to the farmer's market yourself doesn't mean you shouldn't still get that same experience. We should all get that same experience. I don't know if you know, but we work with Seacoast Eat Local in order to make sure that members of low income can use their SNAP benefits at farmers markets. So in Portsmouth and Rochester and I think 7 other towns, Seacoast Eat Locals make sure that happens. And you guys are part of that because your farmers will accept it. You don't put up a barrier to members who just can't pay with cash. You
Right.
all help everyone, and we love that. We think it's fantastic, and we love helping our members be able to go to the farmers market and get the same experience. With Snap, if you don't know, it's usually buy one get one free though, so it's even better. So spend 5 of your Snap dollars, get an extra $5 free. It makes your Snap dollars go much further at the farmers market, but you get to eat fresh local food.
That's great. That's actually been a big focus for us going forward is expanding um, where we can accept SNAP payments and how much. We're really trying to integrate that with our system because well, it's unfortunately not easy to do, but also it's just so important. So we actually use donations that we collect from our customers to credit people who would normally be spending with Snap dollars as well. So that is
We agree, it's
something.
not that easy. That's why we partner with Seacoast Eat Local,
Right.
because they've already created that. So we're happy to help work with that rather than recreate it ourselves. So I agree.
Right, yes, but it's super important. And yeah, I mean, I'm learning more about these things all the time, and I just can't say how much we appreciate an organization like Gather and how exciting it is for me to be able to promote that. It's yeah, it's very important. And everything you said about the keeping farms in business, that's why we do this. You know, our mission is to have a positive impact, or one of our big goals, I should say, is to have a positive impact on the food system. We don't want to waste food. We don't want to leave anything worse than how we found it if we can avoid it. And we do want to represent all of these different local farmers and producers and bring them to a bigger market if we can. That is essentially why our company was created. So it's really great to see it grow and to see it all in motion. It's yeah.
I love that you just brought up producers because we often in our world are very much about here are raw products that you can go make into whatever you want. We'll help you educate it. But we do not often have uh, produced food. So we certainly will make to go meals, and that's a meal that we create. But what I mean is things like piping plover,
Yeah.
bakery, which is on sometimes on the wholesale side, often on your veggie go side, which I love, and I'm so glad you guys do that side. But that was an introduction that we never would have found otherwise. And we have many people who are gluten free or vegan, and having that as a resource has super benefited us in our membership. But so have places like Whippoorwill Beef. Like we would not have been able to buy local beef without finding Three River. So this has
That's
been a great collaboration over the last few years with us and you, because you've introduced us to places that we would never have known without your efforts.
it's great to hear that because that's exactly what we're what we're trying to do. Um, What kind of goals do you have for the future? Is there any big expansion or things you're working on, or are you more just doing business as usual?
So before the pandemic, we served maybe 2,500 people a month. That was a pretty strong month. And so now that we're doing 6,000, the our method really just has changed what hunger and food security looks like. So during the pandemic, there certainly was a peak where there were more people hungry, but we often think that it is really our collaboration with partners like Three River and the way that we distribute food, in that it is a free farmers market style versus a box of handed to you. There is choice, there is dignity. So we see ourselves continually to increase the number of people that we serve, but also to work with others. We also work with the Seacoast Food Provider Network, and there's about 60 food providers around the Greater Seacoast. So places like soup kitchens or food pantries or after school programs, we all work together to share resources, and trying to work with them to show a different way to serve the same population. So instead of just handing out a box like you may have seen on television in Arizona during the peak of the pandemic when the government was doing that, that leads to a lot of waste. If there's things in there like cabbage that you're not familiar with using or don't like, it's going to go to waste. Same thing with dairy, for example. So being able to help our general area, the entire Greater Seacoast, just ending hunger, but also as we end hunger, serve in a different way. Being able to have that choice model is very important to us. We are always expanding in different ways. So I'm going to give you guys a secret in a moment.
Oh,
So our Cooking
great.
for Community program really has only been around for about 3.5, 4 years. It has not been with us for all 200 years. Our UNH program just finally got off and started in April of this year, where we rescue food that would have gone to waste in the dining halls, bring it over to an on-site campus kitchen, and we turn it into full meals. Or we, if they don't have something for us, we just make full meals there. So earlier today, I was helping make gluten-free turkey pot pie and shepherd's pie today.
That sounds great.
So there's always a variety of things like that. Things are always coming our way, and we're always seeking new ways to serve members so that they have access to food. But coming in 2022 will be our bus, and we're very excited by this, but we have
Cool.
not announced it, so I'm telling you guys first. Uh, there will be a bus. We have already purchased it. It is getting retrofitted now, where you will walk on, you will go through, it's an old city bus, go through and shop like you're at a farmer's market or wherever, and then come off. And so this will be great for some of those smaller locations where bringing our entire farmer's market doesn't necessarily make sense, for 20 families, or for senior populations where traveling and coming to us is difficult. So we're going to bring the entire pantry to you. So we're excited for that. So there's, you ask if, like, we often say, what's next? And that's just a couple of the what's next things that are coming. So we're always looking to expand and find ways to serve our membership and the community in new and unique ways.
That's an amazing idea. I love the idea of that.
I'm going to lie and say it was my idea. It totally wasn't, but I'm going to take full credit.
Uh, yeah, I appreciate that. And you heard it here. You heard it here first, right? But yeah, I mean that's amazing. I think that I mean everything that Gather does is very impressive. And I just wanted to talk to you today. Yeah, of course, to spread the word and just say that we appreciate being able to work with your organization and are excited about doing so in the future. And I can't wait to see the bus. That's cool.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining me and taking the time. I'll talk to you soon.